All right, and welcome back to season 7 of our show. And today we're throwing down with some fried chicken. We're frying up the true old-fashioned way with no buttermilk, alongside of 2 gorgeous sides. Let's show you how to get it done. So right here we have 2 beautiful chickens. These are spring chickens, 4.5 pounds each. That's where you want to go with these guys. You don't want big, gigantic chickens. And I love these because very little fat. And they're young chickens, they're not old tough buzzards. So you want to stick with nice young fresh chickens. Off to the side we go with these. Now most people do not know how to cut up a chicken. There's several ways how to cut up a chicken. I like my way. I start from the breast, go straight down, and cut through. And then I'll just half it from here. Let me spin this around. And right on side of this backbone here, just hug the backbone. See the bigger part here? This is where the neck's connected. Take your knife, get right in there, and hug it. Come right through. It's simple. Very simple. See that? Right through. Need a nice sharp knife. This chicken has some feathers on the end of it. Now you either can cut this off, or you'll take a plier, or you can take your hand. Let me just take my knife and put some pressure on here so I can get it. And you can pull those feathers off. I'm keeping one hand clean here. So just take your fingers and just pluck them out. You'll always find some hairs on a chicken, especially if they're young and fresh. All right, so now that we got it halved, I'm gonna put 1/2 back on the board and work with this one. And take my knife, come between the breast and the leg quarter, and just go right in half. Find the joint, right down. But you gotta find those joints. And you get used to cutting, you get better and better each time. So here's my thigh, I'm just gonna clean that up. Get some fat off of there. Now the young chickens, they basically come almost fatless. So you'll find very little fat on these young chickens, but I just clean them up as I cut up. Just like that. And just look around. I'm gonna hold this piece up, this flappy piece here, and just gotta just cut that out. I'm just gonna look around, and we're looking right. I don't see any more fat up under here. There's usually a pocket up under here that holds a lot of fat. But we're doing pretty good. I got a little piece of fat right here, and that's it. I'm gonna throw this in here, and here's my wing of my breast. I'm gonna disconnect right here. So take your knife right up under the wing and come right through and straight down. One chop. And that's it. Here's my breast. I'm leaving my backbone connected because I like to fry with that in there. And I got one piece in here. So I'm gonna show you again. I'm gonna take a fresh chicken that's not cut. We're gonna fly through this. So, breastplate, find that joint right in here. I'm gonna just tap through on that one. That one's a little bit tougher. I'm gonna put this half back. Here's the wing, like I said. Here are those feathers. I'm gonna take my knife, hold them, and just pluck them out. Just like that. And then I'm gonna just cut this part right here of the wing off. I'm gonna start from here, just throw it in. Once you find your joints, you don't have to go in my order, go on your own. Straight through. Here's our leg and the thigh. Cut through. And we're pretty much done. See that? And we're just gonna clean up. And just look around and get the fat cleaned up. That's it. On the breast part, you look around, there's not that much fat on here. Maybe a little piece on the end here. We'll get that off, but everything else will fry up lovely. And that's it. All right, so we're gonna get to finish cutting these chickens up, and then we're gonna meet you back here and show you how to season them up. So stick around. Don't go anywhere. All right, the hard part is over. Our chicken is now cut up. Let's get them seasoned up and show you what else we're cooking with this. All right, before we get into this chicken, take a look at our sides. Navy beans, neck bones. That's what's going in those navy beans, some neck bones. We got onions, a jalapeno, and sweet potatoes. So we're throwing down with a beautiful sweet potato dish. All right, let's get back to this chicken. So here's some salt and pepper. So we're always gonna go with salt and pepper first. I'm gonna put some salt on here. Decent amount on there. A little pepper. Now I'm only going to salt one side because we're using mustard as a binder, so I'm going to put a lot of pepper on here. This dish calls for a lot of pepper. You won't taste it. Garlic powder, onion powder, paprika. Just mix it with your hands. And on we go. See that? Nice and simple. Let's get all the pieces over. And like I said, we're not going salt both sides because we put a good amount of that salt in there. We're using mustard as a binder. And the mustard carries all the salt. All the salt you're gonna need. All right, so let's go in with some cheap mustard. This is French's mustard. I'm gonna go in with a good amount of that. A little bit more spice. Spice it up. This is Southern fried chicken, so you gotta throw in the spice. We're gonna save the last of this for the flour. All right, let's get it mixed up. This is why you wanna use a big basket. If you don't have something this size, you might wanna do 2 batches of this, but this is old school style. This is grandma style right here. And I'm sure your grandmothers out there have got one of these guys laying around the house. Or I'm sure you've inherited it by now. And you're now grandma. And you'll be passing it down the line too. All right, so there we go. We're nice and seasoned up. And just get it rubbed in well. And that's all you need. In the fridge this goes. Now you could go overnight with this and let it marinate. And I'm gonna show you a way how to get this nice and loosened up when you marinate it a little bit later on in this cook. But first we're gonna finish our prep, get those beans going, and then fry our chicken. And that's it. All right, we're gonna meet you back here, so stick around. Don't go anywhere. All right, we got that chicken out of the way. Let's show you a fantastic bean dish. So this dish does not get any more flavorful and more simple than this. So here's some navy beans. In the bowl we go. Now I picked through all of these, make sure there's no rocks. I found 5 rocks in these, so it's not really gonna be a good bite for you guys. So make sure you always pick through that, otherwise you might lose a tooth. Yellow onion. I'm just gonna cut these guys up. Very simple, rustic cuts. Don't go crazy. They're gonna break down in the bean anyway, so just get them cut up. All right, we got some bell peppers here. So in with some bell peppers. This is just a half a bell pepper. Just a little flavor, a little color. A jalapeno we're coming up on. And this is for flavor and a little bit of heat. I'm just gonna start like that. I'm making the pieces big so I can find them and pull them out if I have to, but our family loves the heat, so we won't have to. We'll go right up to the seed and get a little of those seeds inside. So there you go. And maybe on the outside, we're just gonna cut around it. Just like that. And I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna taste this pepper. All the way up where the seeds are at the hottest point to make sure this is no dud. Because if it's a dud, we gotta find a hot one to put in here because it's too cool for the dish. And that's got a little heat to it, some good fire. And we're just gonna cut this up and throw this in. There it is. Bay leaves. I got 3 of them. We're gonna throw those in. And the star of the show, the neck bones. Now these are pork neck bones. You can find these in your local supermarket, hopefully. And these are cured just like bacon. So there's a bunch of meat on here and they taste like bacon. So let's get those in. And then we're just gonna go in with some water. Let's get our water in. Let's get this onto the bench. And this is how much water you're gonna need. Just right up to the bean. We're gonna give them a little shakedown in there. No salt, but the salt is in this cured meat. And you can always season at the end, so no salt. But how simple is that? We're gonna put this on the stove and we're gonna run this for about 3 hours. That's right, about 3 hours. Nice, easy cook. And we'll show you them when they come to a boil on the stove, so stick around. Don't go anywhere. All right, take a look at these beans. Now these guys have been on here for about 20 minutes now. See how they all floated to the top? They're gonna come back down on their own. So I'm gonna take this spoon and just show you what's going on in here. See that? They'll all come back down, and maybe we might add a little bit more liquid to this. There's no need to add broth because those neck bones are making a broth in there. And these are gonna be outstanding. We're gonna let these go, and we're gonna scoot over to the table and show you some beautiful sweet potatoes. So stick around, don't go anywhere. You know, nothing beats nice, warm, classic flavors with fried chicken. So today we're showing you a very special sweet potato, a 70s special that we used to make when we were kids. Let's show you how to get it done. All right, so here I have 3 beautiful sweet potatoes. They're peeled and clean. I got some salt here, cinnamon, nutmeg, cloves, sugar, a couple of jalapenos. Let's get it done. So first thing we're gonna do is we're gonna cut these sweet potatoes up. So I like to cut them like this. And the reason why we're cutting them like this is that we're gonna put them in nice dishes. We want a nice thick cut on these. So let's bring in a dish just to show you. We're using these guys. And we're just gonna lay one here. I'm gonna feel them out because this is the way I wanna put them. I'm gonna put them like that. And I'm gonna keep cutting until I get the desired effect that I want. So let's just lay them down. I think I'm gonna go a couple of more on these guys. Use these ends just to push them up and balance out. And I think I'm good like that. So that's about as thick as I want them. So what I'll do is just get these in the basket, move the basket off to the side. I'm gonna continue to cut the rest of them. So now I know how thick I want them. Let's get them done. So just get them all in like that. So this dish we used to make when we were a kid. And my mom would use a cookie sheet to do this. Nowadays I've got a little bit more fancier things, so I got a chance to use some more fancier plating methods. But if you don't have these type of plates, you can put them on a cookie sheet. They come out just as well. Simplicity. And they won't change the taste at all. All right, so we got these guys done. Let's bring them in. Take a look at that. Avocado oil. You're gonna drench these with it. Good amount. And just when you think you have enough, don't stop. Keep going. All right, there we go. The avocado's gonna take onto that heat. We got some salt. You're gonna need just a little bit of this to bring out the sweetness. There you go. Nutmeg, cinnamon, cloves. Make the amount yours. I'm just gonna shake this up, and it smells fantastic already. There's nothing like the smell of nutmeg and cloves. Cinnamon. Bring you that nice warm feeling. You know, that's the thing when you make fried chicken. Fried chicken has to go with just classic flavors, I feel. If it doesn't go along with classic flavors, it's just not fried chicken, right? All right, so let's just mix that. There's one special thing that I did to this as I got older. I changed this recipe just a little bit. Now I'm gonna go with my sugar. This was still the recipe with the sugar. Let's get a lot of sugar in here. Sweet potatoes are sweet. We've got a good amount of sugar in here. I'm adding jalapeno to this, and you'll see in just a second how I add them in. All right, so we got this all mixed up. And now it's nice and sweet and sugary. All of these pieces are all mixed up well. That's how you want them. Give them a little toss, just like that. All right, I got one hand dirty. So I'm gonna bring in this container again. I'm gonna get them in. And as I do that, I'm gonna take this hand, get the jalapeno in, and I'm just gonna give them a little slice in here. So I'm gonna give real thin slices in here, just like that. Nothing too big. So I'm just gonna slice them all down now, just like that. And the kick from the jalapeno against that nice sweet potato is gonna be amazing. So I'm gonna lay it in there like that. and just keep layering. Just like that. So just layer them in and make the amount yours. As much or as little jalapeno as you like. Alright, so I'm going to get this layered up, and then I'm going to meet you back here and show you the rest of this and show you how we get ready to plate them up, so stick around. Don't go anywhere. Alright, time to finish these guys off and get them in the oven. Let's show you how to finish them. First of all, take a look at these. I mean, this is just simplicity, but yet it looks beautiful in these dishes, right? So you don't need a lot of creativity to come up with things that are very basic and simple. So what do we use? We use a couple of spices here, some sugar, very basic ingredients. All right, I'm gonna show you the topper on this. So here is everything that was in the bowl that we got up, the sugars that were in here. Let me just switch hands. I'm better with my right hand on this one, and we're just gonna pour it right over the top. See that? Just right over the top. And finish it off. Just like that. Just get it all in there. If you spill anything on the tray, get it up because it'll burn the tray. And just finish up just like that. Alright, so there we go. And what's on my tray, I spilled a little bit over here. I'm just going to get this off my tray just because of that sugar in it. And the sugars will make a mess, so keep your board neat. Alright, here we go. Some more sugar. This is very spicy. This one that I got into, it had some heat to it, so I'm gonna hit this with a little bit more sugar. I don't really do a lot of sugar, but this one, I can't help myself. So let's get the sugar on here. You could use brown sugar if you like. You don't have to use white. I'm just using what I grew up on because times were hard. And that's it, 425 degrees in the oven until golden brown. And we'll meet you right back here, show you the rest of the meal. Don't go anywhere. All right, 425 degrees. These guys are gonna go in here for about an hour or until done. Take your time. We'll be right back to cook up some rice. Stick around, don't go anywhere. All right, we got those sweet potatoes in the oven and they're baking away. One last stop on this train, mushrooms and wild rice. Let's show you how to get it done. All right, so we're using a blend of rices today. I got some black rice, brown rice, and red rice here. We got some beef tallow. This is what we're gonna start this off with. Over here we have onions, a little bit of sage, some garlic, salt, and the mushrooms. That's gonna offer a lot of flavor. So onto the stove we go. All right, so we have our garlic, onions, and our sage. They're cooking down. I just put them on with the tallow. We give those a little shake. Our mushrooms are ready to go in a second. Take a look in here. Look at those beans. They're done. Those neck bones look gorgeous in there, right? Now they're done. I just shut them off. I might drop a little olive oil in there, and that's about it. All right, back to these onions, and the garlic, and the sage. We're just gonna cook it in. Now, if you drop sage into anything, you always wanna cook it out. So cook it up in oil, bring out all the flavors, and if you drop it in oil, it's gonna release its flavor. If you don't drop it in and just throw it in the pot, it's gonna be a bit flat on you, and you won't get 100% of the flavor out of the sage. All right, so we're gonna just cook that down. We're gonna sweat those onions till they become a bit translucent. And with the mushrooms. We're gonna cook some water out of these guys and bring some flavor out. We're gonna let these cook down a bit. Add a touch of salt. A little bit more. And we're gonna let this cook down. We're gonna let it cook down, bring out some flavor, then we're gonna add our rice, add some water, and let it cook down. We'll meet you right back here. Stick around. Don't go anywhere. So we're bringing some water out of those mushrooms, so as they start to release a lot of that water. Now the thing is, you don't want this water to evaporate that came out of the mushrooms, right? Most of the time you want to sweat these mushrooms down and you want to get rid of that water. This time, you don't want to do that. You want all that mushroom water to go into the rice. So here's our rice. So let's get our rice in. Let's feed our rice with some water. Now this is wild rice, so you need a lot of water. This is going to cook for about an hour. So it looks like a lot of water, but it's really not. 2 cups of rice. I'm going to let this cook down. Let the mushrooms cook down in here. I'm going to evaporate all this water out of here until we get to a beautiful rice. But that's going to take about an hour and 10 minutes to do. And we'll meet you back here. Once this gets on high and starts to boil, we'll show you what we're doing. Stick around. Don't go anywhere. All right, we are there. We're ready to fry some chicken. Let's show you how to get this done. All right, so here's our chicken. Now, I always chill my chicken down in the refrigerator. I never cook it warm because it absorbs a lot of grease. So always chill your chicken down. Sometimes I stick it in the freezer for just about 10 minutes and get it really, really cold. And then it's gonna fry up beautifully. So here's our flour. We got white flour here, all-purpose flour. Here's that rub that we put on the chicken. We put a little black pepper in there, that's it. I'm gonna dump it all right in here. We're gonna give it a shake. Lock the lid on and shake it real good. Just shake it until all those seasonings and spices cannot be found. So just like that. And there it is. See that? So it's looking right. All right, let's move this off to the side. Let's get into this chicken. It's one last final important move we're gonna do here. We got some vinegar, distilled vinegar. I'm gonna just sprinkle some around. Before I sprinkle this around, see how dry this is? So it's sat in the fridge, you got a little dry. We need something to make that flour stick, right? So we're just gonna go a little bit. Now there's vinegar in the mustard. So you're asking why are you putting vinegar in? It's already in there. We're just putting a touch more. And it's gonna bring out this really bright flavor and a nice tang in here. And it's gonna get that flour to stick beautifully to this. It's gonna make almost like a gravy in here. See that? That's how you want that. That's why we put all those spices, and you want this chicken almost wet, like that. See how it's on the glove? That's it. We'll meet you on the stove to fry some of this up and show you this beautiful chicken, so stick around. Don't go anywhere. 375 degrees our oil is heated up to, but first, check out this rice. Look at that. It's looking right. Coming along really nice. Those mushrooms look fantastic in there. All right, I'm gonna take a couple of these dark pieces and get them in first. I always like to get the dark pieces in first. Usually my wings, my thighs, and get those guys out of the way because they take the longest to cook. So I'm just gonna reach around and just like this, I'm just gonna flour up, shake off. Make sure you just knock it against the other, just like that, and then straight in. Let it hang out for a second, and then drop. That simple, that easy. But you don't want to over flour, so you just knock off a lot of that flour. Just like that. That's it. Pretty simple. I'm not using a basket because I get more chicken in and get it deeper in without having that basket. Or for you guys that are scared of the oil, I highly suggest using that basket. All right, we're gonna get this fried up and then we're gonna meet you when all this is done, so stick around. Don't go anywhere. All right, first of all, our rice is done, so check this out. Doesn't that look great? Those nice big thick mushrooms in there, that is looking pretty right. Let's check out our chicken. See that? That's looking pretty good. I want them a little bit more well done, so I'm taking them a little bit more. See that? They're looking pretty right. See that? They're looking fantastic. All right, we're gonna finish cooking this up, do a couple more batches, and we're gonna meet you back here. Let's pull those potatoes out and show you those, show you what we're working with that. We'll meet you on the chopping block. Don't go anywhere. All right, let's check on these potatoes. Let's see what we got. Look at that. They're cooking even. They're looking right. I'm gonna spin these around, and I might go on broil with them. I'm not sure. Let's give these a little feel. I know they're hot. They feel perfect. I'm gonna go another 5 minutes with them. That's about it. I'm not gonna put the broiler on and toast them. I think they're looking pretty good. And that's it. We're gonna finish frying that chicken. We'll meet you over on the chopping block. Stick around. Don't go anywhere. All right, we're gonna pull some of these guys. Look at that. And let it drain. I'm holding it over the other pieces because I have no basket, because I don't want this to drop, and I love my tongs because I got a nice tight grip on here. Look at that. This is why I don't fry with buttermilk. So when people say they use buttermilk to fry, you do not need it. This is proof right here. This is some fantastic looking fried chicken, right? Come on. Not a glass of buttermilk in sight. All right, there you go. Now you guys let me know. How many of you guys grew up on buttermilk? Because I certainly didn't. All right, I'm gonna finish pulling this, drop in some more, and we'll meet you right back here on the chopping block to have a delicious meal. Stick around. Don't go anywhere. All right, and here we are on the chopping block of season 7, fried chicken, sweet potatoes, wild rice with mushrooms, and a beautiful northern beans with neck bones. Let's show you what we got. Take a look at this fried chicken. Can't go wrong with this, right? No buttermilk fried chicken. So for you guys that are using buttermilk, you might want to try it this way. I think you'll be quite shocked. And take a look at those sweet potatoes. They're looking right. And you see all that nice sticky stuff down at the bottom? That's going to be the best part. Check out our wild rice. We got plenty of mushrooms in here. And those beans. Can't go wrong with these. All right, let's plate up. Let's bring in a plate and a bowl. So we're serving country style today. Got a nice bowl here. Let's get some beans in it. Take a look at these guys. See that? Those beans are all nice and intact. And I'm gonna get a nice neck bone in there. Just top them off. There you have it. Get those on the bench. Let's get some rice in here. So I'm just gonna plate up country style on a cast iron. So we got that little theme going on. And this is nice hearty rice. And you can't go wrong with this one either. You're not gonna go wrong with any of these dishes. All right, so there we go. Let's get some chicken on the plate. And I think I'm gonna roll with a thigh, a leg. I think I'll go with one of these nice little pretty wings over here, right? And that's the way we're gonna serve this tonight. All right, let's get into it. Let's try those beans. Now I'm gonna show you this one. Look how this meat comes off the bone. See that? These beans were cooked spot on. Wow, nothing says Southern like beans and neck bones. I feel they're the perfect combination. That's probably my favorite way to have them. I put ham hocks in there, I tried bacon, a couple of different things, but those neck bones, they really flavor a pot. And the jalapenos, just a little kiss of heat at the end, spot on. All right, let's give that chicken a try. That is some flavorful chicken right there. That takes me back to my childhood completely. Southern fried chicken, no buttermilk. That's the way I grew up. That's the way I suggest you guys should try it. If you're frying with buttermilk, there's no need. That's superior on its own. A little bit of mustard on there. If you don't like mustard, do the vinegar. A little salt, pepper, keep it simple. And I promise you, you'll be amazed the way your next chicken batch comes out. All right, let's try that rice. And by the way, before we try this rice, take a look at that chicken bite, right down to the bone. See, there's no red in here. These chickens aren't beat up or bruised. That's a good chicken, and that's the way you want to buy them. If they're red and beat up, that's not good because that chicken's all bruised, so that's why you don't see any red near the bone. All right, let's try this rice. Let's get some mushroom in here. Very hearty, very herbaceous rice. You can taste the mushrooms. The sage pulls right through, and the rice itself tastes very healthy and fresh. This is an excellent combination right on side of fried chicken because you need something to soak in something just a little bit on the greasy side. Not too greasy, but that rice just takes it in. It's a perfect combination. Last but not least, let's get a hold of those sweet potatoes. Take a look at these guys, see? This is how you want to serve your guests, and look at that. They're nice and sticky down at the bottom, see? That's a beautiful sweet potato. So we'll get a little bit of that jalapeno in. Let's get some of that sweet potato, see? That is precisely what you need to go with a meal like this. It couldn't be more better. Outstanding. That dish is a must try. You have to try that dish. I'm actually excited for you guys to get a hold of that recipe. The sweet potatoes are so soft. You taste all the sweetness and those jalapeno peppers. They got some kick, but the sweetness just cools you right down. I think you'll be highly impressed with that dish. I hope you give it a shot. All right, we're gonna get organized. Meet you right back here, so stick around. Don't go anywhere. All right, and there it is. One fantastic way how to deep fry up some southern fried chicken. Hold back on the buttermilk. And right on side of that, we threw down with some gorgeous sweet potatoes with jalapenos. Baked to perfection. And we can't forget that rice. Very herbaceous, hearty rice, and goes excellent with that chicken. And last but not least, we gave you gorgeous beans. Those are northern beans with neck bones. For just that southern flair and touch. You're going to enjoy that one. The entire meal takes you home. With no further ado, we enjoyed you guys coming. We thank you. We're going to get that last Pitmaster bite there.